This is Pivot Out Loud, stories about education and life in a world turned sideways. I'm Lori Huff.
I said goodbye to walking through Gutman Library, tailgating for a Harvard versus Yale football game, and the thoughts of giving tours to my sisters. I began to question if I would receive everything I wished for when I made my vision board. I worried myself into early gray hairs and questioned, will I get the world-renowned Harvard education and experience if Harvard opts to move online?
Mackenzie Parkins got into Harvard, a dream. Then COVID happened and everything she envisioned seemingly disappeared as the graduate school experience gave way to a new reality. Go virtual or wait another year. This is Pivot Out Loud and I'm your host, Lori Huff.
Every time I look at my 2020 vision board, I roll my eyes, laugh, and think, what a joke. Smack in the center of my board are big letters spelling Harvard, Harvard, and a trail of dots underneath leading me to Cambridge, Massachusetts. My plan was simple: apply, get accepted, have the best year in Cambridge, and be set up for my next steps in life. However, 2020 had other plans. Upon acceptance, I was excited as anyone else and instantly went into planning mode for my summer transition and life in the fall. I started connecting with my colleagues and sought out housing. How lucky I thought I was when I secured housing with a family friend and cut my costs down by thousands. I researched hangout spots, knew what restaurants I wanted to try, and talked to alumni about the best gear to help me endure a Boston winter. Thank God I didn't buy anything. As quickly as I began to solidify my plans, things began to change. Once the welcome events were canceled and current students were asked to vacate the school, I realized my plans and what I imagined my Huxley experience to be would radically change. I said goodbye to walking through Gutman Library, tailgating for a Harvard versus Yale football game, and the thoughts of giving tours to my sisters or my Aunt Colleen, who already had plans to visit and explore the campus. I began to question if I would receive everything I wished for when I made my vision board. I worried myself into early gray hairs and questioned, will I get the world-renowned Harvard education and experience if Harvard opts to move online? Waiting for fall plans to officially be announced led me to the most intense anxiety and loom of uncertainty I've ever experienced. March turned to April, which turned to May, then into June, and still, I knew nothing. It felt like I was frozen. Things were happening, people were moving, the world was changing, but I had to remain still and wait. Finally, hearing that the program would be completely virtual, I had a small sense of relief and thought I could go back into planning mode and reimagine my Huxley experience. But with so many unknowns and nowhere to get solid answers, I remained still. There is no one to ask if paying full tuition without the in-person experience is worth the value. I have no way of knowing the quality of classes or the strain of a year's worth of Zooming on my body. Who can I ask meaningful and lasting relationships could solely be made virtually? No one. We would be the first. 1 month after hearing my decision, I think I'm still reimagining. What do I want out of my Huxley experience? What will it look like for me? It's hard to ground myself and plant my feet in an answer when it feels like the ground is still being built. I'm making decisions on leaps of faith and hope, and it's scary. Every decision I have to make right now feels like I'm opening a warfield in my brain. I'll have a question, know where to get an answer, so both sides battle it out, and at the end of it all, I still have no answer. Should I move to Boston? Will proximity to campus lead to more opportunities or possible in-person meetups? Most of the jobs posted on the hubs are in Boston. Plenty of people are still making the move. But wait, it's a global pandemic. Moving isn't safe. Why risk being quarantined in a city without my family? Full-time or part-time, dive in heads first, go all in, and be a full-time EDN student? Why not? That was the original plan, and you can make the most out of this. But I could also be a part-time student, continue to have income, and at least hope for the possibility of a real graduation in 2022. It's exhausting. I'm exhausted. I feel like a machine having to recalibrate and stay on track every time something new pops up. I would love to say I have a final decision, but I don't. I'm practicing grace and adding the word flexibility to my vision board. As I continue to reimagine, I know I'll keep the promise to myself to be a Harvard graduate student. Whether full time or part time, in Boston or not, I'll get the degree. It's my hope that even remotely, I'll have a great year and still be set up for my next steps in life as I initially planned.
Mackenzie had a lot of choices to make as a newly accepted student during a pandemic. Knowing she decided to attend the ed school virtually this year, I asked what ultimately swayed her.
I had to talk to lots and lots and lots of people just to get advice in other areas. But I think ultimately becoming a full time student was my initial plan. And I really wanted to be able to dive fully into everything that Harvard has and really just become a student again. So I just decided to go for it. And either way, I knew it would work out.
Why didn't you decide to move to Boston? You decided to move to Atlanta, is that correct?
Yeah, so I came to Georgia initially. My family is here, and so I just wanted some time just to be with my family again before moving again. And really just decided, I think financially it would have been a bigger task to move, but then just considering COVID and possible restrictions that might be coming, there were just so many uncertainties and things that I wasn't sure about that really just made me pause and figured if anything, I may have the opportunity to do so in the spring. But with, being full time, being home and with my mom and my sisters, everything like that, it just felt like I'd be able to be comforted here. So Georgia just felt right.
So, how's the first semester going so far?
It's amazing. It really actually is amazing. I think all of the worries that I had and, moments of like honest breakdowns in the summer of just questioning, it's all gone away. I think my classes are amazing. I've been able to like engage in a bunch of different cool opportunities from internships and just really still being able to network in a meaningful way. So I'm really, really, really grateful. Happy that I'm a full time student because I definitely would not have been able to teach and really engage in a way that I wanted to. So I'm looking forward to spring, really J term. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Have you found that you've been able to connect with people virtually? You mentioned networking. Are you finding that connecting with your professors, with the other students in your programs, have you found that to be something that is surprisingly easier than you thought it would be?
Yeah, so networking actually is easier. I think that because I'm a full time student, I have a lot more time in my schedule just to make time to have one on one or coffee or to pop into different office hours with different professors. And so some of it is like I have to do a little bit more work of knowing where and when I can make time or where there is space for networking to actually happen. Also, because it's virtual, I don't have to like include travel time to go from place to place. It's literally me opening up another Zoom or moving from one room to another, which I think is a very good benefit.
You mentioned that as being a benefit. Are there any other silver linings in being virtual this year?
Yeah, I mean, aside from being home, I'm truly happy to be around my family. I think we're living in such uncertain times that I'm grateful that I just have my network here. And while, like, yes, if I were able to move, I'd build a new one, but there's nothing like being around family just to have that support. Another thing again is just really thinking about like how many different opportunities that I have right now. Everything that I'm doing from like classes, internship, jobs, different organization involvement. I would say that like I'm stacked with all these different things. However, again, because I'm not having to go from place to place and I'm really just clicking from link to link, I'm able to fill my plate and fill my schedule with a lot more things.
In your essay, you opened it up by talking about your vision board and how that was not at all in the beginning what you were imagining. Has your vision board changed at all? Have you updated it?
I have not. I really did not update my vision board. I still like look at it from time to time. I just think that this year has been a whirlwind of surprises. And so I think that me trying to plan out what the year could look like. I don't know. I don't want to set myself up for any additional like surprises or disappointments. So I haven't updated it. And I think that, right, Harvard was in the middle, going to Cambridge was still a plan. And I think those things are still possible. I think the timeline of things have changed. And so if I'm thinking about my vision board typically being a January to December outline, then I didn't accomplish many of the things. But if I'm thinking about it in the school year, right? So going from June when I started summer courses all the way through May, there's still lots of times for me to do many of the things that I wanted to.
Mackenzie Parkins, good luck with your classes for the rest of the semester and the year. And thank you for taking the time away from those classes to talk with me.
Thank you so much, Lori.
That was Mackenzie Parkins discussing how the Ed School's virtual master's program has been going. I'm Lori Huff, the editor of Ed Magazine and host of Pivot Out Loud by the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Thank you for listening.